Wow, I'm live. Let me do a little retweet here to make sure that Ready Go Law's Twitter is retweeted by my Twitter. Okay, I'm not going to close that. So thank you for joining me today for Let's Talk Immigration. I'm sorry that the screen is square and not rectangle. I don't know what's causing that. We're trying, we're going to try to figure things out. I just watched a live from one of my colleagues in Georgia, Charles Cuck. And if you didn't get a chance, if you watched it, you're going to hear some of the same things. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, there's some things I want to tell you about that he talked about today. DACA. If you're eligible for DACA renewal, you need to do it. Good job. My back room is taking care of stuff. We're a rectangle now. If you're eligible for DACA, do it. Renew your DACA now while you can still get the application in, right? Okay. Because we don't know what's going to happen with the program, but you never know when they're going to stop making things available. Okay. And that's true with any immigration benefit. Another really important thing that Charles Cuck talked about today, that my paralegal was talking about today, and I've talked about on 2 different consults today, is when you're entering the U.S. or you're just wandering around within 100 miles of a border, Customs and Border Patrol can seize and search your devices. Okay, the Constitution doesn't apply at airports, ports of entry within a 100-mile radius. The only safe places are within the continental U.S. So the reason that's important is because in these crazy times, this is an article in Le Monde, which is a French news source, probably one of the most credible French news sources. And I have pushed the translate button so you can see the English. But it says that a French researcher has been expelled for expressing a personal opinion on the policies pursued by the Trump administration. So what happened is this researcher showed up for entry into the U.S. Space researcher. They said a random check. She went into secondary, and in secondary inspection, they found some messages in the social media that reflect hatred toward Trump that can be described as terrorism. Whew. That's a little interesting. Because when they use that terrorism word, they get to do what they want. So this person was not allowed to be admitted into the U.S. So that's a little crazy that someone can just say, "Oh, I hate Trump" on social media, and then all of a sudden they're denied entry to the U.S. Whew, crazy. Which brings me to bigger picture here. Customs Border Patrol has always searched 30 to 40,000 devices per year at entry for people that are in secondary. Not everybody in secondary do they search their devices, but that's the pool that they choose from. When they do, they are looking for things in your phone or your computer that would make you ineligible to enter the U.S. I've actually had my phone searched before I was an immigration attorney when I was a journalist by Canada. I was entering Canada as a journalist when they had the prime minister back before Trudeau. Crazy times. And they actually asked me questions about emails that I had sent and received. Same thing is happening now, except now it's happening greater frequency. And it's expected to be greater and greater frequency, right? Because every day Trump is pushing the envelope on ways he can mistreat immigrants and immigrant communities, and also they're so reckless and careless that other people get caught up in it, right? Like green card holders and U.S. citizens. I bet one of those folks that they removed to the El Salvador mega prison the other day, I bet one of them was a U.S. citizen. We may never know because they've disappeared, these folks. They haven't given a list of who they are. People are looking at the pictures from the news reports and trying to identify their loved ones. It's crazy times. I'm an attorney. The legal professionals in the United States, especially immigration attorneys, but actually all attorneys that I'm aware of, except for the 10 who work for Trump, are blown away by this because there was no due process here. The person that decided that the people that they removed to the Venezuelans that they removed to El Salvador were member of a terrorist organization, it appears to be like ICE, like pointing at the tattoos and making the decision based on tattoos and stuff like that. It wasn't a judge. It wasn't due process. Most of them don't even have criminal convictions. They're just trying to create chaos. And so, like, the normal rules of engagement with this party don't even make sense anymore with politics, because usually we're like, hey, you're trying to create chaos. And they're like, yep. What do you do with that? So crazy times. So if you're entering the US and you've got some stuff on your phone that could cause you not to be admitted to the US, consider not having that on your phone when you enter the US. My colleague this morning actually recommended, I'd say this afternoon, I don't know if it was morning for him, recommended not even having a phone. Just leave your phone behind, maybe pack it in your luggage. I don't know. But there's no law that says you have to have a phone to go through a port of entry, right? You can have a a border phone or something if you wanted. Okay. What else do I need to talk about? Travel ban. Many of you are wondering, wanting us to speculate, attorneys to speculate about the travel ban, about like how it's going to impact you. Well, let me tell you, the things that are most important about the impacts have not been leaked. What's been leaked is a list of countries that's broken down in 3 tiers. What's not been leaked are effective dates. Which visa categories are impacted? What are the exceptions? Is there a waiver? If there is a waiver, what are the prongs to satisfy a waiver? None of that information do we have. So anybody that is advising you, yeah, you can do that or you can't do that based upon what they think the travel ban is, I don't think that's a good idea. I think you need to wait and see. Now, don't take any risk between now and then. My Telegram, my messages right now I'm buried in messages from people that wanted to go on vacation or something. Like if you're H-1B, you're a green card holder. If you're a green card holder, technically, lawfully, they shouldn't mess with you. The thing is, he's breaking the law. He's doing that like every day. We see that. So don't take the risk. Now, if you're going to see your sick mother in the hospital, I get it. And maybe that's worth balancing the risk. And maybe that's worth doing it. But if you are going for a vacation, no, just don't do it. I mean, the time that you spend outside the U.S. wishing that you didn't do it isn't necessary. You don't have to take that risk. Okay. Along those same lines, if you've been issued a visa, a non-immigrant visa or an immigrant visa, get on a plane. You should be. If you have a visa and you're not in the United States, you better be watching this right now from an airport, or I think you're crazy. Because if you're not entering the U.S. before the ban, that means the ban is going to apply to you. It's an entry ban. It's under Section INA 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, and it gives the executive, the president, the authority to take a class of travelers and say, this class of people cannot enter the U.S. It does not matter if you have a visa. Okay. So if you're hesitating before entering the US, you are assuming it's reckless. You're assuming a risk. Don't do it. I make a big deal about that because I'm going to have a lot of work to do. Our team is going to have a lot of work to do after this ban goes into effect. And it doesn't make sense for us to be working on behalf of people who could have avoided the problem just by getting on a plane. Okay. Sarah says, have you heard anything about if White House has received the report from the State Department, if there is going to be a ban on March 21st, shouldn't there be some news now? I've heard lots of speculation, but speculation doesn't matter. I still think that March 21st, as I've said since January 20th, is the logical date that they would put the ban into effect. Okay. But it might happen before then and it might happen after then. As I understand, that report did make it to the White House, but that doesn't mean, White House can take a marker to it, cross out things they want, add things they want into it, right? I don't know how much time that's going to take. There's no reason to speculate it. Let's just wait and see what happens, but it's coming soon. We have someone else who says, good question here. Is it safe for someone with advanced parole to travel from the red list? I would not do it, but I'm probably I'm very risk adverse. I tell people with advanced parole not to travel, period. I mean, yes, it's great for emergencies if you need to travel outside the US, but I don't think now is the time you want to enter the US unless you want to assume the risk of not being able to re-enter the US. Okay, so some of you all know that we file group lawsuits, okay? And we've used group lawsuits now for years. Since the first Trump administration, we challenged every travel ban that he had, really, at one time or another, in one lawsuit or another, usually many lawsuits. So I'm not going to stop doing that because I believe in democratizing access to federal courts and to justice. So on our website, there's a place called Group Lawsuit Interest List on the very top, okay? If you're a family-based Iranian visa applicant, go ahead and fill out our interest list so that I can get a hold of you if this ban goes into effect right away. If you've got a case in AP right now under 221G, what will happen if a ban goes into effect and your category is impacted is it would switch to refused under 212F, and we would have a new problem, and we would probably want to challenge it because it's not going to go away by itself unless we use the courts, right? So anyway, I want to make sure that I have plaintiffs to run with. So if you are in AP, Iranian family-based, more than 6 months, go on our interest list. Click on the little blue button, okay? Same with students, okay? That's the other group that we do an interest list with. This one is a little bit organized different internally because we regularly and on a rolling basis file mandamus group lawsuits of 15 students at a time. And when we get 15 students, we file the complaint. And then we start onboarding another one. Okay. And we're all, Isabella, our office manager on our team, she's the one that runs that. But here's the interest list. If you go and complete this, in a matter of a couple weeks, sometimes a couple days, she will send you a proposed retainer agreement and next steps to participate in the next group lawsuit. That's a little bit different than the family-based because family-based, we don't do those with as same regularity. And right now, we're not doing a family-based because we are on hold to wait and see what the travel ban says. Whatever it says, we're going to look with a microscope, magnifying glass, to see if it's unlawful. And if it is, we're going to challenge the unlawfulness, right? So many of you out there are thinking, the second the travel ban comes out, I'm going to message Curtis. That's going to give me an advantage. No, that's going to make me angry. And the reason is I'm going to need a day to process the words that are in it. A lot of people can read a book in an hour and have perfect comprehension, and that's not me. I need to spend some time with the words that I'm reading and process what they mean. Okay, so I'm going to need a day when it comes out before I run with what our approach is for what's next. So that brings me to many of you saying, how do we know what comes out? Will they be talking about it on the Telegram? Or okay, there's always a lot of gossip and rumors and speculation. The best thing is to go to the source. And it's this orange idiot. If you go to the whitehouse.gov website, you go to news, you go to presidential actions, you will see the crazy stuff that he's doing every day. So as of today, he's issued today's March 19th, he's issued 2 orders, and neither one of them are about immigration. Although this one impacts immigration, removing discriminatory and equity ideology from the Foreign Service. The Foreign Service is the people that work for the State Department. See, memorandum for the Secretary of State. So if someone has a job with the Secretary of State and they're in a minority or something, they could be vulnerable now because of this absurd stuff. So, interesting times. Every time I go to that website, there's a new order there I didn't know about that I was just like, crazy. Okay, you know what? Wednesday afternoons, I like to go protest in my little local town, and I'm going to go do that now. If you have any questions, you can always message me, Telegram, WhatsApp. I get a little bit behind on WhatsApp, a little bit better on Telegram. Also, we have this new feature where you can book a consult with me or someone on our team to translate, like if English is not your first language. Let me show you that. I'm really proud of it. If you go to our homepage, you scroll down on the very first page, you can schedule a video consult. Okay. And look, we've got them in English, or you could check in if you're an existing client. You just want to have a 15-minute call with me to make sure that we're on the same page, or you want to join me and a paralegal to translate. We've got people on our team who speak Farsi, Spanish, Arabic, Somalia, Russian. Looks like Macedonian, Bulgarian, Serbian. We've got you. Okay. So readygolaw.com. That's where you go if you want to schedule a video consult. It's one-on-one or one-on-one with a translator. Thank you, everybody. Take care of yourself. Probably when we have the next Let's Talk Immigration next Wednesday, a travel ban might be in effect, and we'll have stuff to talk about. But right now, I think it's best just to drink water, breathe, okay? And don't forget to do those things, and take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week.